for Columbus's voyage. Imagine the excitement that would have been generated from this little church in this small village. On August 3rd, 1492, Christopher Columbus and some 90 other mariners boarded their ships right here in Palos, Spain, and set sail in the three famous boats, the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. It'd be nice if we saw some land. You seen the bathrooms on this place? You get any cell service?
Well, I think we all know what happened next. Columbus had a fairly easy journey, good weather, and fair winds, and found America. Well, okay, he initially thought that he had found China, but it was actually the Bahamas. But that's another story.
Word had traveled fast. News of Columbus's fantastic exploits had exploded across the continent. And even before he had made it back to be greeted once again by his royal sponsors, the story of his first voyage was already in its third printing. Columbus was received and regarded as a hero in his adopted home of Spain and in his native Italy. Eduardo, would you please stop swinging on the ropes while we're filming? And please give me back my puffy shirt. Despite the fact that Christopher Columbus was not the first European to set foot in America, his expeditions were nevertheless monumentally influential because they helped flame passions for expansion and settlement of the New World.
By the way, have you ever wondered why Columbus named his ship the Santa Maria? He never wanted to forget where he had nearly lost hope, but found his miracle. And in case your Spanish is a bit rusty, in English, Santa Maria means Saint Mary, the Mother of Christ.
Now this is the way to see Florence. Ah! Okay, quick. Who was the second guy to land on the moon? You don't know, do you? How about the first? You think the moon landing was a giant conspiracy? We're off to a great start here. Well, the point I was trying to make was this, that nobody remembers the second guy in anything. You know, the position sometimes known as the first place loser. Well, with my apologies to Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, allow me to continue. At the same time that Columbus was born in Genoa, one of Italy's future explorers was born right here in Florence. His name was Amerigo Vespucci. At the time of his birth, Florence was considered ground zero for the Renaissance. It is said that of the 1,000 most important artists and scientists, over 350 of them came from right here. I'm talking about Michelangelo, Donatello, Leonardo, Raphael. Their lives intersected with Columbus and Vespucci, and they changed the way we think about art and science. They created masterpieces like the Mona Lisa, the Sistine Chapel, and the Pieta at St. Peter's Cathedral. Oh, and over 500 years later, they would serve as the inspiration for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But I digress.
And so while great works of art and science were being produced in Florence, its most famous explorer and mapmaker, Amerigo Vespucci, was commissioned by the King and Queen of Spain to further investigate the new lands discovered by Christopher Columbus. Between 1499 and 1502, Vespucci discovered the landmass we now call South America. He was convinced this land was part of a new continent, a bold contention at a time when other European explorers crossing the Atlantic Ocean thought they were reaching Asia. So it is Amerigo Vespucci that is generally given the credit for figuring out Columbus had found a whole new world and not India and China. In 1507, Martin Waldseemüller produced a world map on which he named the new continent America. But why America? Well, Waldseemüller took Amerigo Vespucci's first name and Latinized it to Americus because at the time, Latin was the universal language for European maps. But Americus is a man's name, and Mr. Waldseemüller, as a highly trained map-making professional, knew that continents, like ships, are always female. So Waldseemüller took it upon himself to feminize Americus to America, and the rest is history. But you might ask, who was Amerigo named after in the first place? Well, you can trace his name back to the somewhat obscure 11th century Hungarian Saint Emeric, whose bones are still an object of veneration in Hungary today. So the name America stuck because other people copied Waldseemüller's map, and soon the name was in common use. That is why we have North and South America, and not North and South Colombia. The Columbus family has never quite gotten over it. So, in review, 2 Spanish monarchs commissioned an Italian explorer to survey what they thought was India and China. And then a German mapmaker decided to call it America, the Latinized female version of the Italian explorer whose name originated from the 11th century Hungarian saint. I'm glad I could clear that up for you.
And that is how America got its name, and how the number 2 guy acquired naming rights for 2 continents, forever saving himself from the obscurity of forever being second banana. Viva la Genoa! I have no idea where I am. And that's a really good feeling. Got the paparazzi here in Florence. What am I gonna have to do? Drive through Des Moines? Hey! Thanks, Mom. Bye, kids. It's great having you along. It really is.